Hi guys, welcome to CBD Talk Live. Go ahead and start filling up the room. Hello. If you are entering the live, let me know that you are here. Hi, welcome. If you're entering the live, let me know that you are here. Hi, Sammy. How you doing? I'm going to be starting at 6. So if you need to get some water, some snacks, whatever the case may be, go ahead and do so. I'll be starting at 6 o'clock, guys. Hopefully y'all can see this feed, okay? I'm just giving everyone enough time to enter the live. For all those who are watching, hey Tanya S. Ford. How you doing this evening? Girl, I always see you pop up somewhere. Guys, we're going to be talking about an important topic. If you need to get a snack or something, you're from Jersey. Nice, nice. I always want to visit that area. If y'all need to get a snack or anything like that, feel free to do so. I'm going to start at 6. I'm just giving everybody enough time to enter the room and just chill out, get in a relaxed mood. So if you need to get something to snack on or something like that, go ahead. I'm just waiting for the people to get into the room. I'm going to go ahead and start at 6. Thank you for coming. Oh, and guys, do me a favor. Facebook has notifications now. So if you see a little blue tab icon that says click here so you can always get notified when CBD Talk goes on live, click that for me so you can be able to know that when we're coming on live. And also share the feed for me. I appreciate that. Hi guys, for everybody that's entering the room. Ginger, hey Ginger, almost didn't see you on the notifications. All right, thank you for coming, Ginger, appreciate it. 1 family member has shown up, 2 family members have shown up, 3. All right. And Ginger, I'm gonna start at 6. I'm just giving everybody enough time to do what they have to do. I know it's sort of early in the evening, so this will be recorded as well, so people can go ahead and share it later on. To share it, all you would have to do is just look up at the top corner. You're going to see all the title and the description. You're going to see these 3 little dots in the top right-hand corner. You can click on that and it'll say save video, or you can click on the video itself, left click, and copy and paste the link. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and hi, Caroline Wilson. Appreciate you showing up. We're going to go ahead and get started. So give me just a minute. Okay, guys, let me know if the music is too loud over my voice, okay? If it's too loud, put yes. If it's not, put no for me, please. I'm just doing a quick sound check before I get started. I don't want nothing to be disturbing the message that I'm about to give to y'all. So if the music is too loud, let me know. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and everybody will just have to show up as they come. Guys, CTFO family, thank you. You know what to do. Be sure to tell everyone to share the feed. Be sure to help welcome those newcomers that's coming in for me, okay? All right. Thank you for coming to CBD Talk Live. This is Latasha J, one of the hosts here on CBD Talk Live, where we share topics and health information that can help your life. Now, this is just a disclaimer. We are not medical professionals or anything like that. We do some research on health topics and we share them with you, and then we offer you options on choices that you can make to be able to help better your life at the end of the life. So that's just a disclaimer out there, guys. If we miss something, it's not the end all be all. We're not medical professionals at all. So just get that out there. We're only human. So if I miss something or you know something other than what I put in this broadcast, by all means, share it in the comments. Like I said, I'm not a licensed medical professional, okay? So I have to put that out there as a disclaimer, a medical disclaimer, okay? All right, so today's topic is going to be on yeast overload. Now, another name for that is candida, but we're going to focus on the title of yeast overload, okay, guys? So that's just the overproduction of yeast in the body and what damage it can cause. How many of you have been diagnosed or have had what is called a candida overload? Has anybody had that here? Let me raise my hand and let you know that I have had that before. And everybody has a form of overload of yeast in their body, a form of yeast. You have a certain amount of yeast in your body, but what happens, what the problem is when it gets overactive and gets in the body and starts to overgrow in the body, it starts to cause problems. And as you know, yeast feeds off of sugar. So if you have an intake of a lot of bad sugar in your body, it's going to produce two things for your body. Either it's going to turn into fat or it's going to turn into yeast. And the bad thing about yeast is that yeast sets up for bacteria. And bacteria also sets up for your body being exposed to germs and bacteria and diseases, chronic and minor, later on down the line, if not put in check, okay? So let's talk about what is yeast overload, okay? Well, yeast overload is naturally found in the body, like I mentioned before, in small amounts on your skin, mouth, intestines, and private areas. So we're talking about vaginal for ladies and in the penile area for guys. Hopefully, people, if you have any kids, they are out of the room, okay? Because this is a health topic and we get into it on CBD Talk Live. We get really into it, okay? So like I said before, it's naturally in the body and it's just there. But when it becomes a problem when there's an overload. So the CDC says that takes note of how many cases of people that have this condition to where it becomes chronic, to where they end up having to go into the doctor's office to figure out what's going on. The cases that they do catch, check this out, 46,000 guys, 46,000. Hi, Terry. Welcome, family. Terry Lidge is in the house, guys. Yes. Hey, Ginger. 46,000 cases of yeast, overproduction of yeast overload cases are caught within the U.S. Okay? 46,000. So imagine all over worldwide. Okay? And what's so tricky about the yeast overload symptoms, or as you call it, candida overload, it's usually misdiagnosed because of the yeast produces a fungus, and it can be looked at as, oh, it's just, probably ringworm, or it's just a yeast infection or something like that. And the doctor will end up misdiagnosing you and just look at the symptoms and not see the underlying problem, and end up just treating you for a yeast infection or something thrash or whatever the case may be. And it's actually candida. Okay. Now, guys, it's sort of frustrating because candida can do a lot of things that are damaging to the body. Like I told you before, bad sugars will do a few things. Either it's going to turn into fats, or it's going to turn into yeast. And if it turns into yeast and keeps producing too much yeast, it's going to set up fungus and bacteria, which leads to minor and major diseases. Okay. So when you do have a candida overload and those symptoms start showing up on your body, it can show up as pimples, it can show up as thrash on the tongue, it can show up even as a form of cradle cap on a baby's head, or you may think that you have psoriasis on your forehead, face, whatever, and it's actually a form of yeast overload. Okay. So that's why the doctors end up tending to miss it a lot of times, because they'll look at it and it looks similar to maybe psoriasis or eczema or thrash or something like that if it's skin oriented. So those are just some of the issues with that's troubling. Okay. So is it contagious? Having a yeast overload or candida overload, is it contagious? No, it is not. It is not contagious. You cannot pass it to somebody else, but it can spread in your body rapidly. Okay. It's just like moldy bread. If you leave bread out for too long, it gets molded, and next thing you know, one day you might see a little bit of mold, and next thing you know, it's everywhere, all over that bread. Well, it's a fungus, so it acts the same way. Okay. It's going to spread quickly if it's not treated. And any forms of sugar, especially artificial sugars, help feed it. So when we talk about artificial sugars, we're talking about those sodas, those sweets, all of those type of things help feed that yeast problem that you have. Okay. So what are some triggers that can actually trigger off these conditions a lot of times? Well, I already told you that poor diet of having too much artificial sugars in your blood, but do you know that some of the medications that you get from the doctor can also trigger off a yeast overload, guys, effect in your body? Okay. So some of those things, as I'm reading here, can be caused by antibiotics, can cause you to have what is called a candida overload or overproduction of yeast in the body. Taking steroids can also trigger off candida overload or overproduction of yeast in the body. Hormone replacement therapy can also trigger off a candida overload. Okay. Change in diet, probiotics can also cause that. Oh, well, no, not probiotics, but just getting hormonal treatment can cause that. And of course, eating artificial sugars and stuff like that, junk, processed foods. People don't realize how much sugar is in processed foods, and that fake artificial sugar turns into yeast, guys. It turns into yeast. Like, it either turns into fat or it turns into yeast, and it causes these diseases. Okay. So those are just some triggers. Let me go over that again to make sure you got it cleared. Antibiotics, steroids, and hormone treatments from your doctor can cause these triggers to trigger off candida, as well as what you do normally are bad eating habits, which is eating artificial sugars. Okay. So how do they usually check for candida? Now, some of you who know about taking the candida test, they used to have this test where you would spit into a glass of water, and the doctor would look at how your saliva would descend in the water and determine how much candida overload you would have. Or they will do a blood test to check for candida antibodies, okay, in your bloodstream. And also, guys, they will check for candida overload with a stool test. I bet you didn't know that. Yes, they can check for sugar, because remember, sugar, once you get in your body, yeast gets in your body and everything like that, it will show up, especially if it's rapid overload. It will show up everywhere. You know, whatever you put in your body is going to come out. The symptoms going to come out, waist, even in your waist. So stools can be used to check candida overload as well. I know that sounds disgusting, but guys, I'm just here to give you the facts, okay? So those are certain ways that they can check for it. And also, let's talk about some of the symptoms that you may be experiencing when you have a candida or overproduction of yeast, okay? So if you experiencing an excess amount of weight gain, unusual weight gain, so you know what your body does normally, but if you start to experience, um, unusual weight gain all of a sudden, you having more, ladies, more than and even guys get yeast infections. Yes, guys, y'all do get yeast infections. That's considered jock itch and everything else. So ladies and men, if you're getting a lot of yeast infections, or guys, you're getting jock itch constantly, those are some signs that you possibly have an overproduction of yeast in your body. Okay. Also, chronic fatigue. So if you're experiencing tiredness all of a sudden, and you're like, you know what, this is so unusual for me to be always tired. I'm taking iron supplements, I'm taking this and that and that. And usually that perks you up, that gets you going, and it sets you on the right track. But then all of a sudden, it's not working as effectively as it used to. Well, that's a possible overproduction of yeast that's going on in your body, and you probably want to go and get that checked out. Okay. Low libido. I bet people didn't know having candida overload can cause you to have a decrease. Hopefully the kids are out of the room. Have a decrease in sex drive. Yeah, something simple as having too much fungus in the body. Like I said, overproduction of fungus and yeast in the body can cause you to not want to be sexually active. How about that? Something as simple as that. All right. So also it can stop you from having an appetite. Okay. So you'll begin to lack eating, wanting to have a desire to eat. So people don't know about that. You may have you know how you eat. You know if you're a heavy eater, a light eater, an in-between eater, whatever the case may be. But if you're starting to know changes along with these other symptoms, and you feel like, I haven't been feeling like I want to eat like I usually do, and it's showing up to where it's noticeable to you, you might have a yeast overproduction of yeast in your body. Okay, because it'll give you the full sensation like you're full, but you're not full. Okay. And I'll tell you some things that I experienced with candida overload and what I did as well. I want to go over just a list of other things as well. Let's see. Yes, eczema. Yeah, I have the same thing. I have eczema too. Terry says he has eczema. Can over-the-counter cream cause it as well? It hasn't been known to cause candida, over-the-counter creams and stuff like that. I mean, unless you're using something that's probably sugar-based or something like that, then if you have some type of candida going on top of the skin, it may aggravate it even more, because remember, candida yeast feeds off of sugar. So, but there's no scientific studies that showing that if you use a cream or something like that, that is going to actually cause you to have candida. So that's not a scientific fact. It has not been known for that. Thank you, Terry, for those questions in there. Okay, let me go ahead and read some more list of things that it can cause. So I talked about fatigue, but did you know it also causes depression as well? So if you're experiencing depression out of the norm, I mean, we do get sad sometimes, people, that's the reality of it. We don't walk around with a smile on our face 24/7. There are times where you get a little bit sad, but when you start going into a deep depression and you having all these other symptoms, you may be experiencing an overproduction of yeast. Numbness, burning, tingling sensation in the body are also signs of possible yeast overload or fungus in your body that's been taken over. Headaches, muscular aches. So how many of you are experiencing these type of symptoms? Okay, now I'm not done yet. So we're talking about muscular aches, paralysis, people, paralysis. Now that's something that's, you're experiencing too much numbness in the body all of a sudden, okay? Pain in the body can be also signs of yeast overload. Swelling of the joints, guys. Swelling of the joints. This is how bad this yeast and fungus, once it starts spreading rapidly in the body, what it can cause. And that's why the doctors end up misdiagnosing it, because, okay, let's say you have some swelling in the joints. He's going to be like, okay, that's arthritis, that's rheumatoid arthritis. He's going to say that, and then boom, there you are running off with a medication that's for that, and that's not the underlying problem, guys. So listen to more of these conditions that's going on as well. Okay, we talked about abdominal pain, constipation. So you may get treated for chronic constipation by your doctor, but it may be just the yeast overload problem, guys. Diarrhea can also be some of the symptoms for people with candida overload. Impotence, that means you are not having a sex drive, guys. That can be a sign as well. Also, when you have too much of a production of yeast, and this is a heavy hitter right here, it can possibly down the line show up as cancer, give you cancer, guys. Because remember, yeast, fungus builds up bacteria, and that sets you up for what? Diseases, okay? Minor and major diseases in the body. So you definitely want to get that in check. Let's go down some more. This is crazy. Autoimmune diseases. Okay, so that's when your body has a hard time defending itself from other diseases. So you start having immune problems. Bad breath. Now, bad breath is one of the major noticeable symptoms of a person who has a lot of overproduction of yeast and fungus in their body. How many of you have experienced a person that had really, really bad breath? And you're thinking to yourself, this person never brushes their teeth. How many of you have experienced that? Well, it may not just be that. You probably know that it might mostly be that, but On the other end as well, they may be having just an overproduction of yeast in the body, guys. And some people, they can brush and brush, and they're thinking, well, maybe it's because I haven't been to the dentist in a moment. But it's candida, it's the overproduction of yeast, guys. And so when you're breathing, you forget that you're breathing from the inner parts of your body. You're breathing in, and then you're breathing out whatever's in the inner part of your body. You probably never thought about it like that, right? You think it's just like all in here, the air is just coming in and out from this part of your mouth. No, guys, when you inhale, you're sucking in all the way into your gut. So then when you exhale, guess what? You're bringing all of those gases, all of those odors up from the body. I bet you didn't think about it like that. Well, I'm giving you a visualization of what you're doing every time you inhale and exhale. So some of y'all are going to be like, oh my God, I just ate something horrible. Taco Tuesday. I don't want to be breathing that in somebody's breath. Okay, guys, that's what's going on when a person has overload and they have bad breath. A lot of times it's candida, and it's not just showing up in their mouth. It's coming from the inner gut. Because remember, a lot of the diseases start in the gut, people, because wherever the food settles at, where all those sugars settle at in the intestines, oh, that yeast is having a good old time up in there. And then it begins to release gases, expelling gas, as people call it, farting, you start having those symptoms a lot. So people that have a lot of gas in their system, and you're always gassy and stuff like that, a lot of times it's an overproduction of yeast. And guys, I'm not finished with the list. Let's keep going. Okay, we stopped at bad breath. Getting cysts on the body. So when we talk about cysts, people always think about tumors and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, that's part of it. But do you know that pimples are cysts? Yeah, they're little small cysts on the body. If you're getting a whole lot of little pimple rashes all over your face, around your lip or on your body, you're thinking, okay, that's, I'm just getting a breakout of acne or something like that. Those can be signs of candida or overproduction of yeast in your body. So if you normally don't have acne in those areas, or even if you do, it may, and it seems like it's just getting aggravated and it's just not going away, that may be symptoms of overload as well. So a lot of people, we have to think in a broader way when we talk about cysts, because it's not just, tumors in the body, guys, not just inside. You got to think outside as well. Cysts, boils, if you're getting boils a whole lot, and you never had boils before, those are signs of overproduction of yeast in the body, possible yeast in the body, okay? Not only that, attention deficit disorder. So you may have signs of ADD, which is all of a sudden, maybe you have been a person who's very focused and stuff like that. And you, Terry says, carry Tic Tacs. Yeah, or Listerine, carry it all when you have bad breath. Okay, but going to attention deficit disorder. So for those people that don't know about attention deficit, have you ever seen a person that just run around rapidly, and they just can't stay still more than usual? Now, guys, we're not talking about it's a wedding day or it's a big business function meeting or something like that, and somebody's like, or it's the day before a big test and they seem anxious and they can't sit down. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when a person's everyday life is disrupted because they just can't sit still, Here, they're there, they're everywhere. Okay. Well, maybe you are not a person like that. And all of a sudden, you just can't hold your attention to one subject. Maybe you're reading a book, and you usually can read a book and you're able to retain your focus on that book or a conversation with somebody, but all of a sudden it seems like every month it seems like your attention is just shifting, you know, those can be signs of candida or overproduction of yeast in the body. Okay, that's setting up fungus, that's setting up diseases, that's starting to affect the way your brain functions. So you're going to feel like you're foggy headed, fogginess, I can't focus, you just feel agitated, like you want to, just move around a bit, more than usual. You're not having that attention and that focus like you used to. Those are symptoms, guys, of um, overproduction of yeast in the body. So I'm still not done. This is crazy. This is why the doctors have a hard time of finding this little devil of a beast. Okay. Um, like I said before, we talked about attention deficit disorder. That's where we left off at. Rashes. So rashes and hives, those are some symptoms of overproduction. Hi, Jewel. How you doing? Welcome. Overproduction of yeast in the body. So if you start experiencing like rash, you break out in rashes all of a sudden, skin is itchy and red. For people that have darker skin, it's not really easy to tell if you break it out a rash a lot of times, but you can see it from the hives, or you just itching a lot. Your skin feels itchy all of a sudden more than usual all the time. Those are symptoms of possible overproduction of yeast, fungus in the body. Okay. So, and we all know what hives are. That's the little swelling of the skin, where it shows a raised skin of swelling and it's itchy. Okay, hives and all of that also causes that as well. Active infections. So, like I mentioned before, if you are prone to getting infections all of a sudden more than usual, all of a sudden you got a UTI. You'd be like, I just had a freaking UTI like not even 2 weeks ago or a month ago. I'm having another one, and that's not the norm, or you having some type of other infection in the body. That's not the norm. Maybe you having an ingrown boiled cyst all of the time, and that's not the norm. These symptoms of infections that you having in the body is possible major chronic yeast overload, guys. It can cause you to have your infections to increase. Okay, so signs of that, like I said, UTIs, all of that type of stuff. Okay, jock itch, yeast infections, all of that. Okay, so if you're having those more than usual, most likely it is overproduction of yeast / fungus in the body. Okay, and I'm still going on. It's a long list. Sinus problems. So people probably never thought about that. Maybe you having a lot of sinus issues, guys, and you go to the doctor and you be like, oh, it's this issue again. I'm having chronic sinuses and it seems like it's getting worse. People, are you still there? Are you still there? Let me know you're still there. And you having chronic symptoms of sinus infections and stuff like that more than usual. Most likely the underlying problem, and they'll miss it, and the doctor will say, here's a prescription for your sinuses, but that's not the problem. It's you having an overproduction of yeast in your body. Fungus, people, setting up that bacteria in your nasal area. And this is like a danger zone because, guys, your brain is like freaking right up in here. Okay, up in here you have all these major organs that helps you to think and function, let alone your eyes and stuff like that. I bet you didn't know you can have candida production in your eyes, guys. Let's talk about that diabetes effect. Okay, sugar getting in your blood vessels and stuff like that. Yes, so if there's sugar, overproduction of sugar, artificial sugars, there will be yeast and bacteria as well. Okay, so Let's go on. The list goes on. Allergies. So if you're starting to have overproduction of allergies all of a sudden, guys, it could be a possible yeast overload. Psoriasis. Didn't I just talk about that earlier? That you may think that it's, it's psoriasis, but sometimes it's cradle crap. Well, psoriasis can be aggravated, or you may show symptoms of psoriasis due to an overproduction, guys, of yeast in the body. Okay, so those are some signs as well. It's so sad this list is so long. Dermatitis, people, dermatitis issues with your skin. Once again, that is overproduction of possible yeast overload, okay? Dandruff. So you're having dandruff issues. And guys, for those that don't know what dandruff is, have you ever seen a person and their hair is just full of flakes? You're looking like, my God, what's going on with their scalp? Do they ever wash? Maybe they got that psoriasis thing going on, or maybe they got that eczema thing going on. Whatever it is, I'm jumping back because the flakes are popping. Guys, a lot of times if they having dandruff and they just use all the shampoos that they can use, the doctor's handing them, this shampoo, that shampoo, or they're just trying to treat it over the counter and they're still having that issue. Most underlying problem is candida overload, a overproduction of yeast. Okay, so that can cause you to have that as well. Inflammation. Yes, inflammation. So as we know, sugar can either turn to fat or can turn into yeast. Fungus, bacteria. Bacteria gets into the body. Guess what it starts doing? It starts aggravating those muscles and cells and everything and start causing inflammation. So if you're having inflammation more than usual, or you never had inflammation in your knees and your joints, whatever the case may be, and you're starting to have these issues, you might want to check to see if you have an overproduction of yeast, aka fungus, in your body that's triggering off those symptoms. So you can go ahead and get that treated and start feeling a whole lot better. Guys, we have solutions at the end for that. So stay tuned. And we are going into more. Fibromyalgia symptoms can be aggravated even more due to the overproduction of yeast in the body. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Remember I was talking about that earlier? You just being extremely tired out of nowhere. You're thinking you might be low in iron if you're anemic. You may be thinking, maybe I overdid it at work because I do so much overtime. So you over there misdiagnosing yourself. And it's possible yeast, overproduction of yeast going on in your body that's just slowing everything down. But it makes sense because sugar does that. Artificial sugars do that a lot. It'll give you that quick high and then it'll give you that crash. So imagine when it's turning into yeast and fungus and all of that. That's just even more aggravating to the body. And the body's like, I gotta slow down. There's too much bacteria going on in here. I'm feeling sluggish. The white blood cells in the body is working extra hard, and they like, you know what? It's just too many of these booger bears in here. Too much going on in here. We need some help. SOS. So let's send out these signals that, letting the person know that something is wrong. So extra fatigue is going on, guys. That's a symptom of candida or overproduction of yeast in the body. Let's see some more. It says here frequent urination. That's unusual. Can be signs of candida overload. So just having it to pee a lot, feeling like you got to pee a lot. You may be thinking that you're coming down with diabetes, because diabetes is a symptom in which you have excess of urination. Well, guys, that may not be the case. You may just have an overproduction of yeast in the body, And there you are freaking yourself out, getting scared, thinking, oh my God, I may have diabetes like my grandmother. I may be getting those symptoms. Guys, it may just be an overproduction of yeast, okay? Also, endometriosis. It can aggravate that as well if you have it. Infertility, anxiety, you know. So the list goes on and on, guys. I can go on for days about just those symptoms that having an overproduction of yeast can cause in the body. Okay. So just having that overproduction of yeast in the body can cause so much damage to the body. And what's also bad about it is that if it spreads too far, the candida spreads too far, guys, it can start getting into the organs. And that is a major, major concern, because now you're talking about a possible shutting down of your organs because of all this yeast that is spreading throughout your body. I bet you didn't know that. Yes, it can start tampering around with your organs. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and look at some things that we can do that can actually help your yeast overload. So now we're going to go on to treatments and solutions. Now, a lot of times, guys, you'll go for the yeast production, let's say overproduction of yeast, and let's say the doctor catches it. Usually they'll give you probably some prescriptions or something like that. And we all know what prescriptions do. They end up coming with a whole gang of side effects, okay? So if you're one of those people who is looking for a different option, then you definitely want to hear what I have to say, okay? So nothing against doctors, but we all know what medications do. I mean, we know that for a fact. They even tell you right bluntly on TV with every new medication that they come out with. They have these people jumping around, running across like they in La La Land, and everything just got brighter because they took this medication. But then almost close to the end of the commercial, you hear this one guy who's speaking 1,000 miles a minute, or this one lady who's speaking 1,000 miles a minute, and she's talking about all these crazy side effects. I just laugh at these commercials when I see them, because I'm just waiting for close to the end when they get to the horrific part, because they know that once a person speaks fast, a lot of people's not going to be paying attention to that. You go in there to treat this problem, and then you're going to come out with loss of feeling, sensation of feeling, maybe lost in your blah blah blah. Maybe sleepy more than usual, blah blah blah. Cannot drive with this medicine, da 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 da. And they're telling you all of these crazy side effects that you're gonna have to deal with when you just came in to treat a simple freaking problem. Okay, so that's why I want to offer some solutions. Like I said, we're no medical experts. Just want to put that out there. That you can do to help alleviate some of those symptoms. Okay, guys, go get it checked out. Doctor tell you this is what it is. You can take other options of your choice to help alleviate these problems. So some things that you can do to help alleviate an overproduction of yeast is change your diet. Change your diet and the way you're eating. That means stop eating all of those excessive amounts of bad sugars, cakes, pies, dumping, almost 4 and 5 tablespoons in your cocoa, tea, and coffee, and all of that type of stuff. You want to lean more towards the natural sugars, the agave, mangosteen, all of those things that are more natural. But even be careful with those, because that can even also aggravate your yeast as well, because it's still sugar at the end of the day, even though it's more healthy sugar. I bet you didn't know that. Some people think, well, because I'm using agave syrup, I can just go buck wild. There's a saying, too much of a good thing can also be a bad thing. Okay, so everything needs balance, guys. Just remember that everything, just use common sense. Everything needs balance. Also taking probiotics. So that means replacing your body back with soldiers who are going to go in there and help the white blood cells win. Okay, because your white blood cells is like your front line. They're the ones that automatically go in there and be like, okay, I got the signal from the brain that the enemy is in the house. Let's go fight. And they're in there battling it out with your body. And you need other reinforcements because the white blood cells cannot do it all. So probiotics, having those enzymes and stuff like that. Yogurt has good probiotics. Now, guys, with the yogurt, we're talking about plain yogurt, not adding chocolate whipped yogurt and all that type of stuff. We're talking about the plain with the less sugar in it type of yogurt. Helps put good enzymes in your body. And there's also probiotic supplements that you can take to help decrease the overproduction of yeast in your body. Increase your fiber intake. Guys, I share this with you because you have to understand that when you're wanting to get down to the problem, not only do you want to use supplements, but you want to also change your diet as well, because it's going to help those supplements work. We have a powerful one that I'm going to tell you about as well. So you definitely want to change that because that's going to help enhance. And let me give you just an analogy. Okay, we always talk about our face, right? And how we want to cleanse our face. Well, some of you may not be experiencing the full effects of the product because you have all of that dead skin still on your face. You have to go in there and exfoliate. Well, it's the same thing with your inside of your body. You need to exfoliate the inside of your body so that when these supplements that you're using get in there, they can really do a really freaking good job of attacking all of this bacteria and germs and diseases that's going on in your body. But you need to be able to change your diet so it can go in there and sort of detox all of that and prepare the way for the supplements to actually absorb better in your body, okay? So increase your fiber intake. And fiber, what it does is it goes in there and it scrapes the linings of all that mucus and bacteria. Now, for people that don't know, overproduction of yeast can cause a lot of mucus in your body. And mucus helps sets up, for other diseases such as cancer and stuff like that, respiratory problems, in your body and all of that type of stuff, just based off that mucus becoming an excess in your body. Okay, so yeah, exactly. That deals with that. It helps. Overproduction of yeast can cause excessive amounts of phlegm. We call it phlegm or mucus in the body. And guys, that's one of the things I almost missed is if you have a lot of mucus in your stool, this is gross. I know it's gross, but I got to give you the raw facts. Those are also signs of candida, possible overproduction of yeast in the body. A lot of mucus. And we're talking about mucus on the stool. That's that slimy gunk that's there, okay? You want to take that fiber because it's going to go in there and help take all of that gunk off your intestinal wall, okay? And let's see, reducing your stress level. So finding ways to reduce your stress can help you reduce the overload of candy in your body or the overproduction of yeast. Now, remember, I told you everything that ails your body usually starts in the mind. You forget that your mind, whatever you think your mind, affects the inside of your body. Why? Why does it affect the inside of your body? Guys, the reason why it affects the inside of your body is because your brain gets those signals that you're sending from your emotions. And guess what the brain does? The brain ends up getting fooled. So the brain says, oh man, something's wrong because you're feeling sad or stressed out. So it starts sending all of these hormones that you don't probably need to be sent out in your body. And guess what? You're having these issues, okay? You're having these issues, and it's causing you the body to get aggravated, and you end up having inflammation and all these other things that's going on, you know, because it um because of this yeast overload, you know, and because you stressing, it's aggravating all that yeast in your body. So that's just something that you need to do, is reduce your stress, you know, reduce it. We all heard about stress, you know, causing a lot of diseases, depression, mental disease, um, physical disease, pain. Stress can even make you feel like you're in pain when you're not, because you're so stressed out, you know, cause headaches and all of that type of stuff. So here's a fun fact. Guys, how many of you have baking soda in your home? Well, there was a study showed that baking soda can also help decrease. Now, guys, that's the right amount of baking soda. You can't take baking soda every day like that. But baking soda was also shown to help decrease the levels of uh, yeast overload production in the body. And let's talk about foods, guys. Foods that you can use to help alleviate those symptoms of overproduction of yeast. Okay, so foods that help do that: coconut oil, coconut water, raw, fresh, organic coconut helps with overproduction of yeast in the body. Garlic, because it's an anti-inflammatory and it's antibacterial, also helps with that. So you want to add a little more garlic to your food. You know, it doesn't mean all at once, but you know, here and there where you can apply garlic, where garlic can apply, like garlic bread, you know, stuff like that. You can add that. Add a little garlic, you know, into your hamburger meat, you know, your tofu, whatever the case may be, your vinaigrette, whatever the case may be. That's going to help you with that. Apple cider vinegar also helps. Taking a cap full of that apple cider vinegar, guys, also helps with the overproduction of yeast. Turmeric, cinnamon, lemon, and we talked about yogurt and tea tree oil are things that you can use also. But we have something that's more powerful and effective that you can try as well. And I'm going to share that with you in the end. Yes, this is powerful. It's a lot of stuff that you didn't know, that you thinking this yeast is a small deal, people. That's why I'm telling you to come to CBD Talk Live, because you can get that information that you never thought. That can probably help your life. Maybe some family member, somebody you know, is going through this experience, and they probably having maybe overproduction of yeast infections or jock itch or problems with their psoriasis, whatever the case may be. And it's just a yeast overload production making it worse, okay? Yeah, so that's just some of the things you can do naturally as far as food wise. Now, guys, now I talked about supplements and stuff like that. We have supplements that you can use for your body, okay, that can help you out. We have it in oil form. We have it in other products as well. Supplements, vitamin supplements, everything that you need. And what it can possibly do, we can't say that it cures it, but what it can possibly do for you is it can go in there and fight off these types of ailments in your body, okay? So that supplement that we have, the CBD oil we have, is in the highest form and highest quality, guys, that you can get. And this helps to fight off overload productions of yeast in the body, helps to alleviate it. It helps to alleviate it. Why? Because CBD oil is a cannabinoid that helps fight off inflammation, that helps stop sugar cravings, overproduction of sugar cravings, and that yeast that's in the body helps fight that. Okay, so if you're looking for a quality grade of that, we have that here for you. And like I said before, if you heard me say before in so many videos and some of the other hosts here, that not all CBD is created equal. I can't express that enough. So you definitely want to make sure you put the right supplements and quality supplemented oils in your body. And CBD oil that we have is one of them, guys. It's one of them. And just so you know, we have the seals of approval. We are GMP certified, which means good manufacturing practices. We're GMO free. We're cruelty free. All of these things, and we're made in the US of A. All of these things are just letting you know that we do not play when it comes to providing quality products, and we do not just want to give people anything. So if you would like to check that out, I have the link in the description, guys, for that powerful solution. And that's a more stronger, more stable solution of a supplement that you can try out. We have a 60-day try out with our products where you can try it and see if you like it. If not, you can return it. So guys, if you are looking for answers, check the link. You're looking for products, check the link in the description. I hope that this information, because this is a closing, guys, of CBD Talk Live, with some powerful information for you. I hope you enjoyed this segment. How many of you enjoyed this segment tonight? How many of you out there really enjoyed this segment? Hi, Maurice. I see you in the live. Thank you for coming. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this segment. This is some powerful information. Like I tell you, it's always a lot of times the little problems. Thank you. The little problems that you think that I don't need to be worried about that. You know, we just treat this with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But in the inside of your body, it's setting up for a whole lot more. So I'm just so glad that I was able to bring awareness with this health topic tonight on an overproduction of yeast, because people actually do take this lightly. And even the doctors take this lightly, guys. You just don't know. 46,000 cases found in the U.S. by the CDC. Now, that's just the cases found. Now, think about the cases that was misdiagnosed with this issue. Something to think about. So, guys, replay this video if you're having symptoms. Oh, and I forgot to share with you my story with it real quick. So, be sure to share this story with them so they can see it. And then it's a reminder for you, just in case you have these symptoms pop up later down the line. Let me share my story real quick, because we only got about 5 or 10 minutes. I may let somebody get on the call. 210 area code 364-4708. If you want to share a story about having these type of symptoms. But I'm going to share with you real quick. I have always been on a hair journey, hair goal journey. So I was noticing that I was on my journey and everything was going fine. Then all of a sudden I was going into months where my hair was just like thinning, and it didn't matter what I did. So I was thinking, oh, you know, maybe it's my anemia or something like that. Not really getting down to the root of the problem. And I started doing study and research on what could be some of the causes. And I came across overproduction of yeast. And I was like, what? Guys, for some of you that are having thinning hair problems, you know, and your hair is thinning out, it's becoming brittle and dry no matter what you put on it. I was putting deep conditioner religiously on my hair, you know, and it was just feeling like it was just like crumbling, almost like ash. Just extreme dryness more than usual. It could be an overproduction of yeast. So that was my experience, and that's what led me to that, knowing about it and becoming more aware of it in my life. So that's just my story with that. And I was able to do things to help further it. Now that I have a better supplement that I'm using, it just reinforces it even more. So I'm glad I found these products by a company. But I just want to share that story with you. I'm going to go ahead and let a caller come on if they want to talk about their experience with overproduction of yeast. Okay, so I'm just putting the number in the chat for those people who want to call in. 210 area code 364-4708. And if anybody has used the products that we have to actually help treat that type of symptom of overproduction of yeast, or you notice that it has cured that up, alleviate, I won't say cure, but alleviated that a problem, call in. We would love to hear your story. Call in. We're almost at a close, but you can call in. We'll take your phone call. 210 area code 364-4708 here on CBD Talk Live. Guys, you just never know what goes on with your body. And I'm so glad that there are solutions out there to help people. All right, we are waiting for phone calls. Anybody would love to say anything in the chat as far as what they possibly learned, or how many of you was shocked by this information? You can put it in the chats if you was shocked by this information that I gave you. Like I told you before, people just overlook, and they just feel like, I could treat this with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And the doctors are probably acting the same way. Well, we're going to treat this with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. There you are wasting money going back and forth, because that's not the root of the problem. Okay? So I'm glad I was able to share that with you. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. It seems like we don't have no callers tonight. That's okay. I just want to thank you as your host, Latasha J, for being on this live tonight. Thank you for your time. Your time is valuable to me. And I want to say that because I'm taking time out of what you could have been doing to share this information with you. And you thought about CBD Talk Live enough to take out the time to watch us. Now, guys, like I said before, it could be any one of us up here on these lives during the week. We're talking about me, Latasha J. We're talking about Terry Lidge, who's in the chat room. We're talking about Dr. Revis Jr., who's in the chat room. Michael J. Davis, who's I believe is in the chat room tonight as well. We're talking about one of the four of us will be in here sharing these great topics on health and solutions for you. Things that can alleviate your problems, okay? So I'm glad that you thought of us enough to even want to watch us. And be sure to stay tuned to the notification so you can be able to know when we are coming on again. So I hope y'all stay safe tonight, this evening, and just enjoy your weekend. Try not to stress. Do those things that is best for you. If it's meditation, yoga, whatever it is that you need to decrease that stress in your life. People, tomorrow is another day. That means you get to start off brand new and get a fresh start out on life. Today may have been hectic, but tomorrow doesn't have to be if we change our mindsets and set ourselves up for success. And with that being said, thank you so much. And thank you for watching CBD Talk Live. Guys, I love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your night and take care.